Welcome back to the North American Regional Qualifier. We're just about to head into Game 2 between Cloud9 and Team Liquid, but first we want to remind everyone on September 8th, the 5 new project skins will break free from the PvE and hit the live client. In addition to the skins' unique particles and animations, you can also unleash special project minions onto the Rift when you sync up skins with your team. For a full download, head over to leagueoflegends.com. We're moving into Game 2 as well of our series, and Cloud9 came out big in Game 1 to get the first win of the series. Very well played by them. A little slow in the early game, but seems like they were just sizing things up.
Oh, yeah. I think they definitely got a lead, especially from Champion Select, where they were able to counterpick the bot lane, realize it's only kind of a Piglet-focused composition.
They absolutely
and then they took
destroyed
it from there.
Champion Select here. Team Liquid definitely had some missteps. We've been over the karma focus there,
right.
and forcing Lemon Nation onto Braum, that's probably not a good strategy. But beyond Champion Select, they also, their in-game strategy, Dominate, yes, he out-farmed high, and he was power farming, and he got a lot of Scuttle Crabs, a lot of vision control, but didn't attack Draven. When you see a Draven on the enemy team, there are a couple of champions in the game. Riven and Draven are some of the champions. When I get into a game, I'm like, I'm going to gank that lane, whether I'm on his team or against his team, because those are snowball champions that can take over the game. And High, you could say, he had very clear focus. Even though he didn't work out that much in the beginning, he focused down there, and eventually they were able to pull it out with the Braum and Gragas combo, and Sneaky was able to cash in.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, he wasn't just focused on that lane. The one gank he did top ended up affecting that lane very heavily in kind of a strange way that you wouldn't think about, but it paid off.
I mean, you were talking about the Draven pick as well. Like, in the essence of just that pick changes the landscape of the way Cloud9 wants to play it all.
If that was any other AD carry for Sneaky, it would have been a completely different game. You would have seen High gank different lanes. Sneaky wouldn't have been able to cash in the same way that he did, thanks to the Draven passive. But that game would have been way less snowbally, and he wouldn't have had as big of a counter to the Vayne. So that pick specifically shows me that Cloud9, the last 10 games that they've played, they've been shoring up their pick bans a little bit more every game, and you see it here today manifesting itself. If they walk away 3-0ing Team Liquid, that would be huge for these guys.
Yeah, they can't. This is not a repeat strategy though. That was a one-time counter pick. They're not going to get this jump on Team Liquid again. So very excited for game number 2.
Be interesting to see what happens as we hand it off to our casters for Game 2. Dominate has some high praise for his jungling counterpart.
When you talk about Cloud9, it all comes back to High. High is the person that turned that team around. That team was down in the dumps, like losing almost every game, barely able to beat anyone in the league. And so he's really picked that team up from the ground and just carried them through his leadership, through his experience, and through his shot calling. So to me, like, Cloud9's all about High, and he's one of the players I respect the most in NA.
Hey, I got to agree with Dominate. High has honestly impressed me so heavily in the last couple of months. Coming back into the lineup, switching roles.
Yeah, dude couldn't even practice that much in his last split in the LCS, what we thought was his last split when he retired. And then he obviously switched his roles to something that he hasn't been able to dominate solo queue with necessarily. He actually
lost
from
hundreds of LP.
Into Master while jungling. But it's the intangibles that High brings to the table. The trust that he gives into his teammates, and the fact that his teammates are so willing to follow his calls. It is just really what Cloud9 needs to succeed. And they're 2 games away now from Worlds. This team was nearly relegated during the regular season. 7th place to Worlds would be their path.
What a run, but we'll see that's going to happen. In Europe, we had the 1, 2, and 3 teams from playoff make it to Worlds. In North America, we had 1 and 2. Liquid would have been 3. We'll see if that ends up happening. The picks and bans come through very fast. Liquid actually respecting the Nidalee a whole hell of a lot. Also, the red side forced to ban Kalista and Azir, which gives Cloud9 a lot of room. They get rid of the Maokai, they get rid of the Gangplank, the Lulu, and they get to first pick Braum.
Yeah, it's interesting. They dealt with the Lulu last game, even though the Lulu was 3rd picked, I believe, by Team Liquid last game, so it wasn't even on the very top of their priority list.
It was 2nd round. It was after the Nidalee.
Exactly. It's because Nidalee was the very first pick. So maybe with the Nidalee ban, they thought Cloud9 would definitely lock it down in their first 2 picks, or Team Liquid would lock it down with their first 2 picks.
Yeah.
Instead, though, the big tanks are the first off the table. I think we're getting somewhat similar compositions, at least based off of these early choices.
I agree. I think minus the Draven, though, is a big one. I think Team Liquid will not fall into that trap again. And something I'm very excited about for Cloud9 is that they got so many strats ready, and that when Team Liquid said, oh, you guys needed that Vayne to win your games, let's steal it and give it to Piglet, C9 was like, no, that's fine. We can just still beat Vayne with this other champion we've also learned how to play around, and it was cool to see. That said, they might just go back to the Vayne, and what are the odds Piglet knows Draven, as Incarnation's going to lock in Diana?
Yeah, Incarnation, mixed results on Diana, but it is definitely a pick that has been showing a ton of power throughout all of the worldwide leagues. It has a somewhat weak laning phase, but once Diana hits level 6 and the scaling in the middle late game, tremendous snowball potential, which is some of the things that Cloud9 have been picking for.
I'm a bit surprised to see Diana pick to win a team that doesn't look like it has a lot of dive. Like Sneaky can skirt around and get back there as Vayne, but Braum with the more defensive tanks, balls. The Rumble is up, and I think Rumble Diana would become a good combo. This also looks a bit like a comp that would suit Amumu. I'm speaking a bit too far in the future now,
it
but
would. I actually think.
Rumble Amumu would actually fit this comp really well.
As an avid Amumu player myself, because it's a follow-up for your initiation, which is really critical. I also see the Victor locked in by Phoenix, and I've actually heard people say that this is a bad matchup for the Victor, as in Diana is a counter to Victor as far as counters go. Victor is a blind pickable mid laner, so all of his counters are soft counters if they are. But I will say more so, my opinion of this matchup is that is a very swingy matchup. Because specifically because Victor has a self-shield and a stun that he can put down right on top of himself when Diana jumps on him. If he ever gets ahead of Diana, he can completely shut the Diana out of the game, and vice versa, because Diana can burst before the stun from Gravity Field would hit.
All right, so then watch for this one. We had the bot lane matchup last game be about if Draven gets ahead, game ends, the matchup's over. Maybe the same thing happens now in the mid lane if we see the pressure come through. Dominate stole away. High's Gragas. We have not seen High have... Well, no, he had actually good Elise games as well, and Elise is available.
Do it, High.
But there's the hover. Yeah, I think...
Do it both.
Yeah, okay, Elise Shen is going to be the grab here. So it's not going to be the Mumu comp. I like the hover, but Elise comes through as High still has a good early game jungler. Ball switches over to Shen, and he can really follow up on the Diana or follow up on the Vayne. This team does reach the backline now.
Yeah, that is somewhat true. The follow-up is definitely true. If you, your statements are completely true.
Okay, thank you.
But what I was going with was the damage for Cloud9 became a little bit suspect with those last two picks. They have a full tank top laner and a lower team fight damage jungler. Especially since Phoenix is looking like he's going exhaust Victor, Alistar also has the ability to go exhaust. They could be running double exhaust into one diving assassin, a bunch of tanks, and a Vayne, which does make the team fairly easy to shut down. And if Team Liquid puts up enough of a tank line, would then have the better team fighting team.
The question is, what's Liquid going to go for the top lane? Then it is going to be the Gnar up there. Interesting. I kind of like the Mundo hover. I don't think it would be great into Vayne without a Thornmail, though, and that would take a while. But Team Liquid just get another big frontliner, and Gnar should do okay into Shen. We've seen that matchup go from fairly well to really well based on the series we've seen. And so Team Liquid do have some tools for aggression, of course, as well as tools for holding a front line.
Yeah, I like the Gnar specifically because it's a split-pushing answer to the Shen, so they can more easily force team fights where Team Liquid will want to be superior if Corki can get going, specifically in the mid-game. We'll also mention Phoenix did bring the cleanse, so Incarnation only has one exhaust to work around, but still a lot of tanks and displacement, which is very difficult for him to bypass because of the Alistar knockback, the Gragas knockback, and a potential Gnar ultimate.
It's going to be interesting then. So we get ourselves into the next game in a couple of seconds here, and Cloud9 switching things up a fair bit. They've gone back to the Diana. I believe Incarnation has played it a little bit before, and they're going to look at this again. High on his third or fourth Elise game now at this point. Phoenix does still get a big, scary team fighter. Now, many people have said that if you get him off Azir, Phoenix is no longer that scary of a mid laner. I think he's still very good, and we'll see if he can help take over games. He's one of the big damage threats in this composition. Now it's going to be a fun game. You guys at home, head over to Twitter and share your series predictions. Send hashtag C9 winner, hashtag TLWin to @LOL Esports. Let us know how it's going. Cloud9 2 games away from the World Championship. Team Liquid yet to be on the board, but we're getting ourselves into Game 2. It's going to be a fun series. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, a lot of this will just have to do about whether or not Sneaky can get ahead on Vayne, because there's a lot of tanks he's going to have to bust through in this match, and he doesn't have any champions who can innately buck his damage, so he needs to be able to provide the damage straight through his itemization.
Well, one thankful thing is Xpecial's on a fairly weak laner in Alistair. A very strong champion, but there's the condemn outplay into the headbutt. It's actually almost easier than Draven's in a way because you just like aim it against the skill range.
Click on the champion.
Yeah, and just the general 2-on-2 is not that abrasive. So Sneaky can get the farm. Now, see what happens is High is going to lead the invade with some Volator Spiderlings and forces Dominate to walk away. Looks like C9 can ward up this jungle and feel good about this.
Should also mention that I Will Dominate played Gragas all 4 times in their match against Team Impulse at Madison Square Garden. So as far as recency of success, Gragas is the greatest champion for I Will Dominate. That was picked away from him in Game 1 by High. So being able to lock it down this game, I think is a nice comfort advantage for Team Liquid, especially since they lost Game 1 and will need to win 3 of the next 4. Comfort is king in a lot of these situations.
The one thing that does help is Team Liquid have a top lane matchup that I think can do more. In the first game, Nautilus, and you may consider it a counter pick to Maokai. I'm not sure if that's the case. I don't play those matchups, but I believe it was picked later. And Quas did well in the matchup. Quas was farm ahead of Balls, and he was getting pressure. He actually killed top turret first as well. Yeah. Now he's got Gnar, who can really leverage that kind of lead, can do a lot more with an advantage than I believe Nautilus can, and that might be a key for Team Liquid as they get farther in this game. Love to see that happens. High is going for the invade that he went for earlier on yesterday, actually. Top lane joins up with Ball, is going to steal the red buff away, and Dominate, I believe, is... He should be aware there are wards that saw them come up through the river.
Okay. Yeah. So you'd assume they just do a vertical jungle trade?
At least I think they saw him come in. I don't know if they went through Tribrush. I didn't track.
Yeah.
I can look.
Well, we'll be able to see.
Yeah, they responded for sure. They actually pinged him. I don't know if they walked by the minions or if they just knew.
That specific minion line, if you walk around from the red buff, will spot you unless you wait for it to pass. One interesting trick you can run, if you're wondering if you're going to be spotted with the minions, is just track your own minion wave in the mirrored lane.
Yeah.
Because the enemy minion wave will always mirror that until it runs into champions. So, obviously it's not relevant at this point because Cloud9 assumed they were spotted and just wanted to maximize their efficiency of speed. But when they were spotted, obviously they were pinged out.
Yeah, and so now here comes the mind game. Dominate, of course, goes for, as you mentioned, the vertical jungle down to the bot side. High is ready for that. It's actually already got a ward.
Yeah, he rushed down here, and they both have smite. So, especially if it's collapsed upon, nice move by Cloud9.
Body slam is back up, and the stun's going to land first. Flash, and the body slam will get him out. Exact right sequencing of skills, just got him out in time, but Dom loses Flash. Heads up play by both High and Lemonation to make that work.
Yeah, High covered so much distance, and the mind game was enhanced by the fact that Cloud9 was spotted in the minion wave when they went to Krugs. So Dominate would think, man, no way someone would traverse 80% of the map just to harass me off a buff when he totally has a buff of his own. Well, High does what he wants, and it worked this time.
I think that was very, very key and very clever. So good play by Cloud9 here to prevent all of that. That top lane invade definitely paying off now as they have stomped a lot of the advancements from Dominate. See bot lane being pushed in for now. Corki definitely good at killing minion waves early on. And it's going to be Balls plus Lemonation together, by the way, so a lane swap situation. Vayne soloing up against where the Gnar would be.
Yeah, 2 can play the inefficient invade game now. Dominate with no flash. Wants to go take the blue. Gnar versus Vayne. I mean, if Sneaky is willing to forego this farm, it's going to push Dominate out again. This being checked, this is actually a very foolish invade by I Will Dominate because they do not have the numbers or the experience advantage.
Looks like they're just not even going to try. Well, I mean, Smite is up
for a steal.
Yeah.
As long as Gnar is MIA, High has to respect it. But I think he's actually playing the game to maximize Sneaky's farm right now. The longer that Quas looks to harass blue buff, the longer Sneaky can gain an advantage in the top lane. So High doing some very smart things this game.
What I like about this matchup, by the way, is Quas is actually a top lane Vayne player, and he's up against one now in this. I assume he's going to know the matchup at this point. But I just find that kind of clever and interesting as far as this game is concerned. Nice. Ooh, that's a big one. Oh no, Phosphor Bomb missed on Elimination. It's only a couple hundred damage missed, but small misplay there by Piglet. Nice pulverize in a headbutt, but out goes Lemon.
Yeah, so much of Corki's early laning phase is based on his Phosphorus Bomb accuracy. It's the main damaging spell for the Corki in the laning phase. And they're against Shen in the lane, so he should be needing to land that the majority of the times.
Here comes the play on Aquas. Forces the leap out thanks to a long-range Cocoon. High just going to shove the wave in, and Sneaky, sitting on 1,200 gold, is not actually the recall he wants just yet. 1,400 is Cutlass.
Yeah, I mean, really, really big minion wave right there. You would almost think that they would prompt the dive just in the chance that they can stop the minion wave, but when High threw out his Cocoon so early, it kind of made the gank an impossibility, and then Quas gets all the experience of that. It looks like about 2.5 waves with the minions hitting the turret.
It's definitely a lot. He's still actually got a wave in front of him, so that farm room is going to keep ticking up. Both AD carries, near perfect scores, 41 CS apiece, basically. Top lane is also ±2. Mid lane, also fairly close. So all said and done, these guys are neck and neck in this match. Jungler is the only real differentiation I'm seeing right now, as High is actually showing in lanes a lot. It's strange for a pressure jungler like this to give away that he's not going to gank one of your other lanes by showing up, but it's going to allow his team good recalls and good wave pushes.
Well, High does a lot of babysitting when he's playing jungle Elise, from what we've seen. Even so, because he landed the straightforward Cocoon from the lane on Phoenix, he gets the nice harass off. Team Liquid, though, they are matching. Despite Dominate getting 3 buffed away, he has kept his farm up, and because High has spent so much time in lane, the jungle gold is actually very comparable right now.
Even these top lane fights are pretty comparable. I like that they both have the 3-hit passive on their W.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to trigger magic damage, I'm going to trigger true damage. All right, good trade. And then all is well. Xpecial gets to farm in the mid lane. He's got to feel good about that one. Level 5 on the Alistar.
He used his trample passive to do just enough damage so he'd only have to hit the ranged minion once.
Yeah, that was really solid.
Special has CS'd on Alistar before.
And it scales by level, and you get like really sporadic XP on support, so just getting all that accurate is actually more difficult than you would think. Mid lane matchup gonna do okay, 6v6. So far, all is fairly close. I mean, we have a neck-and-neck game right now. Balls does finally get swapped around. They eventually recall Sneaky, but he can afford consumables and a Cutlass. He will head to the bot lane, and they will match the 2-on-2 of Team Liquid. Balls is actually missing part of a level against Quas right now.
This is what happens in this particular lane swap when the support and top laner lane together for one team. So Sneaky will have an experience advantage on Piglet, and Balls will have an experience deficit to Quas.
The funny thing is, Sneaky's not even that far ahead because Xpecial left the lane. They're actually both level 6, so it's not even that bad for Piglet.
Well, Xpecial had elimination as well, so maybe
they just got more XP.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure where it came from then.
Maybe. It's a little strange. But it's really not much. I mean, Balls had a big wave in the top lane. He's actually very comparable to...
Yeah, it's honestly fairly close around the horn, so there will be like small timing windows, to your point earlier, Jack, but...
Yeah, it's more minimal than you would normally see.
Right.
Just mainly because the supports were roaming a lot, even in the
2-on-2 lanes.
The double 2-on-2 lanes. That's why both supports are fairly tough.
All right, leaves elimination at 4 Xpecial, 5 1/4.
About to 5.
All right, well, Sneaky gonna last it best he can. Elimination gonna help him out. Missed a caster. It's actually... You don't have enough AD right now on Vayne to actually one-shot cast minions. You need a little bit of help at this level without using Tumble. But he's going to be all right, 66, 69, not exactly a far disparity here. Xpecial keeping the wards up. He does have Sightstone, Elimination does not. That's actually a fairly important break point here because it means C9 are less safe.
It's a pretty tough moment in the lane, too, for Vayne. When the opponent laner has a Sheen, it just makes all the quick trades typically favor the Corki. Like, if Piglet ever lands a phosphorus bomb and an auto attack, Sneaky just basically loses half his health and has to completely go defensive in the lane.
Exactly. So you're seeing Sneaky playing around the cooldowns. That was really well played. He knew Phospho was down. He's otherwise saving Tumble for when the Q does come out. So intelligently played lane here by Sneaky. But Xpecial got sustained, so you're not getting a lot of permanent advantages here.
Yeah. Ping coming down bottom lane from I Will Dominate as well. He may be trying for one of those body slam flash ganks. All summoners are up, but if they could body slam flash ult backwards and then headbutt backwards, the flash really wouldn't matter. So we'll see if they can pull off something super aggressive here. It would be vulnerable to counter gank if they used all those spells for it, but they may just go for it nonetheless.
Teleport is down for Incarnation. There's no Elise around. There's the headbutt in. They want Sneaky. Good flash away. Keeps him safe. Nothing picked up. CC was not layered properly.
Yeah, I would say also a poor headbutt by Xpecial.
Yeah.
He flashed for the Pulverize and then headbutted him horizontally instead of directly backwards. Made it so Dominate would have a harder time reaching. don't necessarily like that combo. I would have preferred they lead with the Gragas, body slam flash from Fog of War, and then Alistar headbutt after the Gragas ultimate. But even so, they end up burning both flashes and an exhaust for their bottom lane and just get a flash from Sneaky.
Absolutely agree. So not a lot gained here. Unfortunate for Team Liquid. And C9 gets away from a fairly close battle up in this lane. Now, right now, Phoenix does hold a 6-minion lead. Not a whole lot, but it does exist. And so far, Incarnation has not made any real headway. But Diana has TP'd back to lane once for a good recall timing. That cooldown is back, though. High now looking once again for the top lane. He's showing up in pretty much every lane, kind of on repeat. Taunt will not quite land, but now, good dodge by Quas, gets away from all the skill shots.
Yeah, nice dodge by Quas. High is throwing that E out a little bit early, in all honesty. At least has the luxury of being able to walk towards most people. But really, High is just trying to land a max range skill shot when I don't think he needs to use it so early. Quas easily dodged a couple of ganks now.
All right, so then looks pretty good to be Team Liquid right now. The gold basically the same. The actual gold of the two junglers is basically identical right now. They're just getting different values of farm. Just a very close game all around the map. No one's got a huge lead. Incarnation gets his own blue buff. And we still wait for the cooldowns to tick back up and for the next time for a team to make an aggressive move.
Yeah, at the moment, Cloud9 with the Shen ultimate would have the upper hand in a lot of the aggression. You also have to keep in mind that Diana has the teleport right now as well. So really, if Team Liquid does any type of bottom lane play, especially since they don't have flashes, it would kind of backfire horribly, which means Sneaky should feel very safe about farming and playing aggressively. Since if they ever draw attention down bottom lane, all 5 members of Cloud9 can show up very easily.
Yeah, that's true.
This is advantage Cloud9, at least at this point in the game, which is just got to be putting a lot of pressure down on a Team Liquid right now. They are the higher seed. They have not won 2 best-of-5s coming up into this. They thought they were going to be in Worlds after they beat Team Impulse at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
But then because TSM lost the finals to CLG, Team Liquid did not have the most championship points. Therefore, they're even in this tournament to begin with. And now they're down 1-0, and very slight disadvantage right here, mainly just because they didn't secure any type of advantage in the first 12 minutes. And now the double TP and Shen are on the enemy side.
Which makes playmaking difficult and getting back in very hard. So we'll see if Team Liquid have the ability to do this in the game here. Elimination clearing away some wards, which gives time for Liquid to fight back. A little bit of damage on Sneak, but again, this has got lifesteal on Vayne, so you're not taking that much damage over time.
I shouldn't overblow this. This game is still incredibly close. But as far as for the next 8 or 10 minutes, the team that you would expect to be able to take risks is Cloud9. Team Liquid just kind of has to farm this out and just wait until we're in more of a grouped up state and more controlled objectives.
Yeah, we do have lanes that are pushing quite well. Incarnation, oh, the Flash Cocoon, nice dodge by Phoenix. Jukes left, gets away, but Incarnation goes in anyway. First blood, they knock in High, but Repel says nope. He cannot quite get to the Raptors, but who cares? Nothing to do to him. Nice pickup by Incarnation.
Incarnation goes way in. You thought after High missed the Flash Cocoon, the gank was over. Phoenix died with both Summoner spells. It seems like he got caught a little bit off guard as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Flash and Cleanse don't stop damage, but he could have still flashed the final hit from Incarnation.
And
now they're going
Power
for
Dive
High.
comes in. High has aggro. Incarnation can't do enough damage. High should have the Repel, and he does it. He tries to get Dominate and screws it up horribly. Quas is in. A taunt from Balls will buy time. That means Incarnation can get away.
Yeah, I mean, High's Repel was still on cooldown while he was taking that turret aggro, so he couldn't have even gone up for it. Mistake for sure by Cloud9. And they give it kind of right back. The kill being on Diana is more valuable than the kill on Gragas, but an unnecessary dive, and it expended the Shen ultimate.
And even though Sneaky has been able to sustain and get last hits, his bot lane, the perma-shove from Team Liquid, maybe part of the reason they banned Karma in Game 1. It's finally worked. They're going to knock down the bottom outer turret here. Slow and steady. It took them 14.5 minutes. But Team Liquid have finally knocked that down, and Quas gets to capitalize with the red buff steal as well.
For sure, the Sheen advantage the Pivot had in that bottom lane. Slow and steady wins the race in that battle. And specifically because all of the action happened mid lane, it allowed Team Liquid to turn up the aggression a little bit, which allowed them to take the turret in the bottom lane. Since Incarnation was so low from the turret dive mid, and since Shen had burned his ultimate, and because the jungler was dead, like nothing is stopping Team Liquid's push in the bottom lane. Therefore, they get the turret, and that's a really nice 15-minute bump for Team Liquid gets.
There's actually really fortunate timing as well, because normally Balls would have TP advantage for like the next 4 minutes, but what are you going to TP advantage for? Dragon's gone for 6.
Yeah,
So
now their
C9
turret's gone as well. So.
Right, so very little for C9 to do as a result. Top lane down to half. Balls can try to make some headway here. He's finished the Sunfire Cape. These minions do die quickly. But Corki showing up. Typical lane swap. Team Liquid get bottom outer turret. They switch their dueling to the top side. Corki can continue being a battering ram with a 15-minute Trinity Force. That's going to go quite well.
They're going to trade the turret, right?
Yeah.
Next special show top with the Corki, and they sent Quas down solo for the bottom lane. Maybe they could have held this turret 2v3, but it honestly gets traded back pretty trivially for Cloud9.
That's pretty much how the game kind of goes. Otherwise, you kind of sit in a lane that you don't get to do much in, and that's the way it works out here. Team Liquid going to make sure that all is well. Balls defending this turret and getting XP, which can be a bit of a risk, because there's always a chance for the dive. But Dominate did not go to pinch this turret down. He stayed in his jungle. And Balls will actually be allowed to gain XP that
we got a real interesting race right here, actually. High is in the jungle. They're looking to take down this second turret while Shen holds. Shen would also be able to teleport down if this play was tried to be stopped by Team Liquid, so it's actually a very nice power play here by Cloud9.
Knocks him in though, high pull Zagger, but look at the damage on Aquas. It gets chunked out. Silverbolts do enough. It is a kill picked up, and High gets out. Here comes the Victor ulti. High will survive thanks to Stand United just barely. Top lane outer is gone thanks to Piglet, but a 1 for 0.
Yeah, and now Piglet's going to try and put pressure on the bottom turret as well, so they're always trying to answer each other. This time Cloud9 had better cards going into the trade, so they end up winning that trade with the kill.
But that was the funny thing is Cloud9 dedicated 3 guys to the push, and they kept going, whereas Dom just kept farming. He was trying to get everything he possibly could out of the map, play for the farm and not for the slightly safer turret kills. And as it turns out, Quas gets punished for his defense. And that's going to be pretty nice. Blue buff did get stolen by Piglet. He recalls and does not hit that turret any farther. It did not take much damage from it at all.
Yeah, another actually really close game coming up towards the 20-minute mark. These teams playing very competitive within the early game. So a marked improvement for Cloud9 from their first 2 games of their previous 2 series. Team Liquid, though, is going to be wanting to play with a lot of control right now. They have the Sorcerer Shoes and the Trinity Force completed for Piglet. They also have an Abyssal Scepter onto the Victor, so team fights, they're actually built for them to happen right now.
Oh, that explosive cast was amazing! Down goes the Vayne. Sneaky couldn't do anything else, but this one, a beautiful body slam flash. I Will Dominate carried that team fight. I think it's 2 for his team.
Big plays, Gragas, that's why he played it 4 times in a row in the 3rd place match against Team Impulse. And it's Team Liquid taking advantage of their power spikes. We just talked about the itemization advantages on Team Liquid, and then they execute on it by finding a fight in the river, and they will maintain the pressure. Blue buff on Piglet means he is a poke monster right now.
He's a monster in all forms, even riding a manatee. I mean, there's just so many beasts involved in this one. Team Liquid tuck the bot or the mid outer turret all as well. 2,000 gold lead. Dominate getting his team back in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a condemned back at the start of it, but then X Special is the one that has the flash for this one. Post flash, Dominate says, no, you don't get out of this one. Phoenix doesn't even have the 2nd upgrade on his Hex Core, so he doesn't get move speed on the Q, but because Dominate still had flash, he does the flash follow on his body slam and secures the 2nd kill.
And that was max range. I mean, he was like 50 units away from not getting the knockback on that body slam at the very end of it all. But it all happened. All right, so 2 big items done for Phoenix. He now has the tier 2 upgrade. Abyssal Scepter is done as well. Nearly Abyssal for Incarnation, so that's close to being matched as we look at these. Sneaky, a bit of a way to go on his next purchase, and unfortunately, he's been under such threat so far from the Gragas, even the Gnar, and the Victor can do it as well, that Sneaky's had a hard time winning actual team fights, not just 3-on-1s.
Yeah, Victor puts a lot of pressure on Vayne in team fights because he can just dump out so much damage.
Special smartly saves the ulti. Now he's going to pop it, and that means that High is going to get picked up there. How about that for a face check? Alistair's fine. They knock back the team, and Quas with the giant Gnar ulti, just picking up what he can. Incarnation dives in for nothing. 3-0. Team Liquid winning over and over again.
Yeah, and if it were 20 minutes into the game, they'd actually take Baron right now. That was just such a one-sided fight in favor of Team Liquid. They outnumbered Cloud9, even though Cloud9 had Shen ultimate and Diana teleport up. Incarnation thought it was best to help. Ball said, no thank you, because they were going to lose that fight either way. High picks a bad one there.
That's what's been one of High's big weaknesses, though, is, you know, you talked about he'll do things that other junglers would never think of, and sometimes it works out really well for him. He does things that junglers don't think of because they're also bad occasionally. Getting caught out there, looking for the fight on the Alistar when there was actually some backup coming, ended up being a big fatal mistake. And unfortunately, High having a 0-2-2 game, not the best right now.
Yeah, Team Liquid definitely with some control. No Draven to worry about this time. I Will Dominate has really strong jungle control. Quas actually has a better split-pushing champion and build this time. Goes for the Hex Drinker as his first item, so it's a little bit of damage that Nard needs if he wants to be a split-pushing threat. Power spikes for Corki, they're using these very well. This has been quite a clean game from Team Liquid, much like Game 1 was up until about 19.5 minutes. So
that's true.
Team Liquid not showing the nerves you may expect after dropping the first game, and about to take Dragon number 2, another step towards victory.
The good thing about reasonable timings as well, this will be a sub 40-minute Dragon 5 if they get him on cooldown. That's a reasonable time for it all. Dominic going to be able to take this one easily, does not have to burn the smite, but he gets the bonus gold for last hitting it with his jungle item. Now, of course, Dom, being on a tank, will be going for a Locket himself. Special still goes face the mountain on Alistar. We'll see if he wants a Zeke's for a Corki. There's actually a lot of ways you could go with it. Frozen Heart's, of course, very strong as well. It means quite a lot against both Diana and Vayne. Channel to the top lane because there's a fight going on. Top lane Adder is gone. Piglet's one hit away, but he's going to stay alive for now. High takes a Chaos Storm. That Phoenix actually misses for a bit, but gets back in there and picks up the first kill of the fight. Now Balls walks to the front line, trades a kill back and forth. It's still a 2-for-1 with both kills going to the Alistar, though. Elimination now forced to push the team away as he and Sneaky got a run.
Yeah, Phoenix does a ton of work in that fight, and Piglet gets away with the sliver. Very punishing fight there.
Oh, they're still going!
They're going!
Piglet just barely gets away with the Valkyrie. Phoenix down to the wall. The Qs get dodged, and now Phoenix just going to help support Piglet as one more kills come through off the rocket. A 3-for-1 now.
What a Valkyrie right there by Piglet. He Valked out as the knockup was hitting him,
just
so
after.
Sneaky couldn't follow, and then a really nice death ray right up where the Lemon Nation put down his Braum ultimate to close this out. We got to watch this fight from the very beginning, though. High, this time flashes for a close cocoon, which is very smart, and they just needed one more auto attack. Just one to chain the stun, but they could never quite get there. He gets away, which is very important for the latter half of the fight. And the next special doing his best to try and block the skill shots. Unfortunately takes 2 kills, which could have just put Phoenix into overpowered mode. He's unfortunately hasn't been able to pick up a kill on Victor despite all the work he's doing in team fights.
Yeah.
It's the only thing really that makes it so Team Liquid doesn't have absolute certainty of winning this one is the fact that Phoenix hasn't been able to pick up kills because he's just doing so much work in these fights.
He's at least getting some because of the assist streaks, but yeah, if that was 7-1-0, Death Cap would be done right now. People get one shot, so definitely something to be concerned about.
Absolute extreme of the other direction. Yeah. If he had 7 kills, he'd be so strong.
As most champions are. I believe Draven was like that last game.
That's true. Very few assists for Sneaky.
They get like 2, sadly. And here we go, 9-3. Team Liquid have been winning fights back-to-back now. And feeling pretty damn good about themselves. 2 items in the Corki. Blade of the Ruin King done is quite nice. Although Phantom Dancer on Sneaky will make him a very scary champion as well. We're going to see what comes up next as mid lane tier 2 under fire. There's a cocoon from the side, but it's Quas who's tanky. A big knockup, but the turret's not dead yet, but look at the damage coming out. Sneaky's already gone. And now Elimination's going to drop as well. A 2-for-0. The turret's gone on top of that one. Quas has Mega Gnar, stuns some Spiderlings for gold.
I love the initiative that Team Liquid is taking right now. They knew they had the Alistar ultimate up. Also, they gravity fielded before X Special flashed in on Alistar, so no matter who he would headbutt back, it would be right onto the stunning field. So even if they flash backwards, they'd still be in the stun.
Yeah.
Just great foresight there by Team Liquid, and they are executing.
Beautifully played. That's why you pick Alistar. That's why he's so damn strong, is you can make these 23-minute tower dives happen and not even care about it. You've got 6 seconds to kill that turret or win the team fight, whichever suits your fancy. So you look with a 24-minute inhibitor kill and a 4,000 gold, 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah, really bouncing back in a big way from their defeat in Game 1. Still executing on those power spikes. Trinity Force and Blade of the Ruin King completed for Piglet. He is destroying people. Really punishing Sneaky for his low range on Vayne.
Yeah. Vayne isn't the champ that I would honestly want to blind pick in most team compositions. It was strange for him to go for, but here comes a Baron play.
That's
Elimination in the front line has a lot of shields and is going to be not going down. Instead, they find a special with his ultimate already gone. Sneaky gets the first kill, the fight 4-11, but there's so much damage coming through, they can't stay. Beautiful knock by Incarnation, must flash, and Sneaky walks forward. Why? Caught by the Mega Gnar. High is next in line. Incarnation can try, but he can't do anything about it. It's another 3 kills picked up for Team Liquid.
Yeah, big desperation Baron there by Cloud9. Very easily sniffed out by Team Liquid. And then Quas also had the patience in Mega Gnar to wait for the right moment to get the ultimate, because even as X Special was going down, a lot of players would have gone really early on Gnar, blown the ultimate, but as soon as Cloud9 was thinking about a re-engage, Quas flashed in and crushed 3 people in against the wall. I mean, even so, I mean, there's a ward right in the pit. They placed it, obviously, to get the teleport. Obviously, they have some true damage on Vayne to take X Special down, which gives them hope. And right here, Cloud9 needs to say, no, get out. We are really far behind. And for the most part, they are doing that. As soon as the Dominate ultimate separated them, they thought they could re-engage. But that's exactly when Quas saw his opportunity, a sliver away from killing Lemon in that crunch as well. So, smart play by Team Liquid, and they take even more control of this game. This one's pretty out of hand.
Yeah, it's very, very far away now. 8,000 goal lead. They don't need a Draven passive to do it here. Unfortunately, Phoenix finally got some kills. He was 0-1 and 9. I felt good about that one, and then he went 2 kills, 1 assist in the last fight. So sadly, the scoreline not as pretty, but all is well. Dominate, keeping the wards up, and now look at this. Team Liquid setting up on this side of the map. They go for the last tier 2 turret left standing. They've already got the Baron buff. Yeah, easy turret kill.
Super easy. The question will be whether they are willing to straight up dive and hard push the next one. They have Alistar ultimate up, no flash this time, but they could still brute force something. I mean, Sneaky's off farming a wave. This second inhibitor is done for.
He's choosing to give it away in this one. That's an inhibitor that's going to deserve and earn. Zeke's Herald is the pickup for X Special. Does Bada afterface the mountain. Piglet casts so many spells, he actually charges it really, really, really quickly on Corki.
Zeke's Harbinger. But yes.
Oh, I said it wrong.
Even so, this is kind of all but over, it seems like. Cloud9 would want to desperately fight them out of the base here. There we go.
Goodbye. Sneaky is nothing of the sort, picked up right there by Gragas. And High can try to run, but his health is the opposite. Running away, running away.
Well, only one man can pass.
Skittering away. Dominate. Gonna make the spider run away, but now Balls on the side, gonna get hit up as well. Elimination takes the Chaos Storm to the face. Phoenix gets another kill for himself now out of the Nexus turrets, but one traded back by Incarnation. There's the Pulverize, there's the startup. Dom is finally gonna kill off High. There's the ace, there's the game. 28-minute win. Team Liquid crushed the team fights, and they fire back.
Yeah, fire back in a big way. Strong performances from top to bottom there for Team Liquid. One mis-executed gank in the early game, but outside of that, Team Liquid played really clean. Victor pick worked out. Piglet hit the Trinity Force on Corki, and then Team Liquid was able to force some really timely team fights. Shut down Cloud9 from top to bottom.
Yeah, and it was cool to see Team Liquid kind of went back to what was working for them in the playoffs. They went for, I think, a very, very Team Liquid style. Piglet and X Special tried to win lane. A bunch of AoE, constantly pushing, bit of sustain. Just go for the turret. Forget fighting champions. Just get the turret down. Phoenix on a pretty big carry mid laner. Victor, of course, very strong. Solid performance from him. Dominate just back onto a tank. Quas on a lane dominant tank as well. Let's play around the 2 carries. And all of those things are what they were doing over and over again. Off in Italy, on the Gragas. All good things.
Yeah, just strong execution as well throughout it. This time, when they did hit their big item thresholds, they were able to force the fights, because that's the timing they missed out on in game 1, which is one of the big reasons they ended up losing. But it does show that they are still playing cleanly. We've been following the story of Team Liquid this whole year, because in the past they've come up just short in so many big moments. Yeah. So it seemed like this was a team that was going to choke, right? And Cloud9 had consistently come up when it mattered, always making it to Worlds, often being the LCS champions, that a lot of people would think, even though Cloud9 has been down throughout the season, they would have the momentum and the proper mindset coming into the series. But time and time again, this year, Team Liquid has proven that they can stand up to the pressure.
And that's the thing is they broke the curse twice now. 3rd place, not 4th. 3rd place, not 4th. Okay, it's a bit better. 1st place regular season. These guys are really getting good. Now it's win one of the series. It's definitely anyone's shot at going to Worlds here. But for now, going to send over to our guys in the analyst desk to dissect that Team Liquid win.
Thank you, gentlemen. And the reverse sweep curse has been broken, or curse, or
We won't see one either way now.
faith.
But we can still see a Game 5.
We can still get a Game 5. We can still scrape some silver on this one. Looking at that game, Liquid looked a lot more sure of themselves in engagements, while Cloud9, their assurance kind of got them into trouble. Sneaky went hard, High went hard, and they were really getting some errors out of those plays.
Yeah, the front line for Team Liquid did a lot of work. Sneaky just got bombarded with knockups, knockbacks, stuns, everything. He was not able to outplay, whereas Piglet had some really key outplays.
Yeah, early Vayne pick again being punished. You can see Vayne in this series, you should probably be picking it later on after the AD carry is locked in, if you're going to pick it at all. I feel like they should just drop it and make sure you don't get counterpicked.
I mean, I thought it was mostly due to play.
Yeah, but I feel like they exploited the range disadvantage on TL side. They were like, okay, Sneaky has to be in range of a headbutt. He has to be in range of cask when he's doing our damage. So that's my feeling on it.
Well, looking at, actually, let's pull up the replay there, because that fits right into the range that Cloud9 kind of needed to stay out of, but were forcing themselves into, knowing they were this far behind. And you can see Phoenix still running from base, the teleport's coming in, but they could not keep out of range of this.
Yeah, this is just Cloud9, they're about 10K gold down at this point in the game, and they've been forcing things all game. They forced fights previously. Right now, it looks like they're going to be forcing a fight that they think they have a numbers advantage for, which they do. But as we roll this out, you're going to see that they're still taking Baron damage. When you are down gold, you just need these 3 members in here to actually start dealing damage. And Incarnation, after this fight, walks too far forward. Right here, he should be walking backwards instead of forwards. He used those couple of seconds to be walking the wrong direction, and that's what put him in range of the explosive cask from Dominate there. And that's how they were able to clean up afterwards. With loss. Oh,
but
man.
that right there, that is the breaker. That's the backbreaker right there. Quas gets a giant Gnar.
He didn't even have full vision of that area either. He just had vision of one person, and that Gnar looked like it was, he's like, okay, I saw people go back there. I'm going to throw at least 2 people in, and he got the whole block.
It just became a very look before you leap style of play with how far Team Liquid was ahead. And you can see the go for broke from Cloud9 trying to get themselves back into the game.
Complete opposite.
24-minute first inhibitor down. Kobe, I remember you saying Team Liquid had a little trouble in closing out games. It was only 4 minutes later they were able to go for the next one. But those were off some Cloud9 errors. Do you think they were closing out games regardless still better?
I'm very happy to see Quas on Gnar rather than Nautilus. I don't think he should go back to that champion. Much better to have him on a bigger playmaking champion.
Well, Dom as well, 408. Piglet, 609 this game. We know both of those players are extremely emotional. You even heard Dom in a Madison Square Garden when it hit the flash body play. You know, I thought I was going to carry the game, and things didn't go that way, but hopefully that can work this time.
Yeah, Quas had to tell him to calm down. They were like, you're getting too hype here. But yeah, Dom, at the beginning of the game, I thought it wasn't going to go too well for him because Cloud9 actually banded together as a team to stop his jungle route, and they ended up denying him that red buff early and put him behind. And then he was still able to recover off of team fights.
Yeah, High made some great decisions. Also had obviously a couple more mistakes in this game, so definitely a mixed bag coming from him, but definitely a good start.
Yeah, one thing I do want to touch on in the champion select is the Diana pick in the second round. They went Braum, then they went Vayne Diana. I feel like locking in the Diana that early on just allows them to pick whatever they want into it. They realize you're going to have global pressure, possibly double global. You know, it will be double global, but then if you have a Shen on top of it, I guess it's much easier to get down there. But still, then you realize the name of the game. You realize the name of the game is, okay, bottom mid pressure, jump around those 2 areas. That's going to be easy to pull off. I feel like you wait on the Diana pick. They could have locked in their jungler there. They had already seen the jungle on the side of Team Liquid. Lock in the Elise there, wait on your Diana pick, see what they bring in, and then you pivot on your strategy. I felt like they gave too many cards over, and that's going to be a lane that you're not exactly winning right off the bat.
Well, Cloud9 definitely have to shore up a few of the weaknesses coming into Game 3. We're going to step away while our teams reset for that game between Team Liquid and Cloud9. Keep it tuned right here. The action continues in 3.5.
I'm going to bed.
All right,
Someone sub in for me.
I'm gonna just try to go full fire mode.
Is that why your brother's here?
Yeah, he's gonna sub in. He's like Masters though, but
It's pretty good.
yeah, not too bad.
Condition can't do enough damage. Hyde should have the repel, and he doesn't. He tries to get Dominate and screws it up horribly.
I'm mana.
I'm
backing up. I'm really low.
Fight. Nice.
Diana.
Yep, down. Here's Flash.
Can we Baron here?
Yeah,
Baron.
it's a 30. Beautiful knock by Incarnation. Must flash, and Sneaky walks forward. Why? Caught by the Mega Gnar. High is next in line. Team Liquid crushed the team fights, and they fire back.